Today we are in Switzerland in the land of views upon views, and we also view the new DS8. My name is Peter and today I'm taking you around this new flagship DS product, and it is quite the product. It is an impressive car to look at. Here in the front there is a lot of design going on that we'll get to in a minute. But first I want to walk around the car with you so you can see its full 4.82 m glory. Right away the question, is this an SUV? Is this a SUV coupe, or is this just a high sedan? Fastback, how do we call this? I had the same question with the Peugeot 408 recently. This is even bigger and tends to go more towards the SUV side, I think. Here with 21-inch wheels, by the way, in this all-wheel drive long-range version. More on the versions and the batteries later in the video. So here on the front, the design. What do we make of this? Let me know in the comments. Do you guys like this kind of design or not? Because there's a lot going on. We got those daytime running lights on the side that are in sort of a V. You can see the 4 double dots in the headlights. That's even before we turn the headlights on. We have this big grille element going on. It's quite a lot. But it is an impressive vehicle here from the front. Underneath here, by the way, you can see that those are open now. Those can also close. They open obviously when you need more cooling. They close for more streamlined and aerodynamic efficiency. Because this is a very streamlined car. Thanks to the 97 kilowatt-hour battery pack here in this long-range version, it has a WLTP range of 700 plus kilometers. So that's actually quite impressive. And obviously it has good aerodynamic values as far as that goes in order to achieve those kind of numbers. Now the car itself comes in several colors obviously. This is the two-tone pearl gray with black, which I think looks kind of nice, and especially with these 21-inch wheels it looks quite impressive. But I think my favorite angle is here, the back with the rear lights. I quite like that they are both horizontal and vertical, as the wind picks up here actually. I think this is a good looking car from the back. It's nice actually to follow this car during the day, and I think it's going to look quite nice at night as well. While we're back here opening the boot, that's a bit of an issue. Down here you can see that you'll always get dirty hands going in here for the boot release button. You can see the smudges here already, so that's not so nice. But when we do open it up, it is a ton of space. This is easily big enough for your ski holiday and everything your family has to throw at you. It might look a bit featureless at first glance, but it's not, because we got a little net here, we got some hooks in the back, and we even have a 12-volt connection back here for your cool box. So that is all good, and there's some underfloor storage here as well for charging cables and everything else. So that is quite voluminous and more than plenty of space for basically anything, because this is an excellent touring and long distance cruising car, thanks to its big capacity, and also in this all-wheel drive model, thanks to its power. You can see, by the way, here the DS automobiles on the back, and here is the type number 8 all-wheel drive. So let me know in the comments, do you guys think this is a good looking car, or nah, maybe not? I think it is something that you really have to like. But it is something very much different from the Germans or the Japanese or even the Chinese car makers these days. So I think as far as that goes, job well done for DS in being different and making a product that looks very different as well. I think job well done as far as that goes. Obviously a little tour through the cockpit of this DS8, and we start with the spec sheet because everything you see here is the eternal blue Alcantara interior. There's several options obviously. There's a Nappa leather version, there's also animal-free options for the enthusiasts, so there's a lot to choose already. And it is a very DS interior. If you get in here, especially at first glance, it's very different from what the Japanese brands offer, or the German brands, or the Czech brands, for example. We start with some good news here on the door, because the Alcantara feels very nice and everything you touch and interact with is soft, so that's good. And we have normal window switches, so that's always nice as well. There's no door handle. That's here behind this speaker element with the focal speaker system. There's some up here, some throughout the car. They're French partner, they're very proud of that. And the door release is down here as well, so that's something to get used to. And there's a lot of lines and angles going on here already. There's no mirror control here on the door. That sits next to the steering wheel with some other buttons for the boot release and the windshield heating, for example. So it's a little bit different, but it's still reachable, and you know, you don't adjust your mirrors that often, but it's still nice that it's over there and not in the menu, for example, in the screen. The steering wheel is square, which is the wrong shape, but I have to be honest, it is round enough that it still slides through your hands on roundabouts and so on, because it is an actual square, so not a rectangle like Xpeng has, for example. So it is still doable. They've rounded it off enough. And it's a very unique design with this sort of X 4-spoke design element in the middle. Then the airbag obviously there, and then two clusters for buttons for your systems on the right and your media and your cruise control and such on the left. Flanked behind it by the pedals for the regen braking. So there is quite a lot going on here in terms of what you're looking at and what you're operating. Those button clusters are one slab of plastic, piano black plastic, but they're not capacitive, so you can still physically press it. So that is good. Then on the top is a sensor for your drowsiness and alertness and so on. And through the steering wheel, I'm looking at the digital driver's display, which is, there's quite a lot of stuff going on with a lot of colors, but it's not overwhelmingly busy. So that's good. And above that is a head-up display. So that's also nice, because I really like it when you have the head-up display for some basic stuff without taking your eyes off the road, and then some glanceable information on your driver's display. And then for all the big stuff you want to do, you can go to your screen. So nice setup, and all around it is actually quite a nice position to sit in as a driver. I have all the information that I want, it's all clear, and I can reach all the controls really well. Two stalks, by the way, I forgot to mention, for your wipers and your lights on the left. Also with some piano black on it, but overall also nice and easy to touch and operate without reaching too far from the steering wheel, so that's good. Then we go to the middle screen, which is huge, but in a broad horizon way, not in, there's a giant slab of iPads glued to the dash. It's a screen with 5 segments, so there's a passenger side of the display where you have to scroll up and down for different elements. There's a driver side in the middle where you have to swipe left and right for different elements and different tiles. Then there's the climate units on the left and right permanently there, and there is a status bar on the top permanently there that you can also swipe down from. So there's quite a lot going on. It's not the most intuitive thing to begin with when you start working with the car. You know, it always takes a bit of time for me as a test driver as well to get up to speed, but there's a bit of a learning curve involved. But overall, if you come from a Peugeot product, for example, it is recognizable, so that is good. Then that Alcantara that we mentioned at the beginning is all over the dash here, which is nice, feels nice and soft, doesn't get dirty, no fingerprints and so on, so that's great. And then here on the top there is more blue, but in plastic. And it's sort of, there's this weird plastic strip in between that feels a bit cheap, to be honest. And the same goes for this sort of wannabe metal looking ventilation part underneath here. There is manual ventilation adjustment, so that is nice, although they're a bit small. They could have made that a little bit bigger, but then yeah, this sort of plasticky, not metal, doesn't look very nice. Underneath those, we have a what looks like individual buttons for your ADAS systems, for example, and your maximum ventilation and so on. But it's one slab, just like the ones on the steering wheel, with several functions. So you can really press it, but it is one piece. We also have the parking brake over there. Then it gets interesting. We have this middle tunnel bit, which looks a bit like you're going warp speed, and this for some reason gets hot. I'm not sure if it's the backlighting and it's also the sun coming through the panoramic roof, but this gets really hot. And then the Stellantis drive selector that we all know from Stellantis products, flanked by some buttons, individual buttons for your volume up and down, your drive select, your home button, which is also on the screen by the way, and your mute button. So I'm not really sure why they've gone for the extra buttons here, because most of it you can just do in the screen. But okay, it is there. I don't really like this floating element. It doesn't look that nice, and it doesn't really contribute anything, for example, because you only have one cup holder here and the other ones are all the way down there. We also have a split opening armrest for some extra storage, so that's nice, a lot of space there. And we also have underneath the floating element some storage space here. take my key and sunglasses out. This also slides open, and then there is cup holders and USB charging available. So that is all there. So that's the cockpits. The seats are actually quite nice. I fit in them. They're in this version heated and cooled, and there is an air scarf here for those cold days. Not really sure why you really need that. It's not a convertible, obviously, but okay. And overall, it's an interesting place to be. It's a nice sitting position. I have good overview. I can see the corners. You know, there's plenty of light, especially thanks to the roof as well. So all around, it's nice. The audio system is fantastic. There's all kinds of audio settings and profiles that they have us try out here today. But overall, it's a quality sound system, so that's great. And they're really proud of the Focal partnership, so that's awesome. And in general, it's a pleasant place to spend time. It feels airy, especially here in the front. There's space to breathe. So, you know, all around it's nice, but you do feel that you're driving a big car at all times. So on the one hand, it's big, it's heavy, it weighs more than 2.2 ton without any people or stuff in it. It's a cruiser car. It's a relaxing driving experience because it's quiet in here. The large vehicle invites you for pleasant driving. It's all very comfortable and refined. So that's good, that's very nice, and that's exactly what you want from this kind of car. That said, we are in the long-range battery version, so that is again good for the cruising, but we are in the all-wheel drive version with 350 horsepower. So I have a button here that I can go to sport, and then everything becomes a little bit sharper, the throttle input becomes a bit more pronounced, the steering is a little bit heavier. And then if I floor it from 90 upwards, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, it becomes, I wouldn't go as far as to say that it becomes a rocket ship, but it is a fast car with this kind of power. So that is something to enjoy when and where the circumstances are there. And in the end, fundamentally also the reason you buy this kind of car with this kind of power, because it's fast in a straight line. And meanwhile, I'm going to put it back in comfort mode. That said, I don't think this car is going to be the most relevant selling version, especially not in the Netherlands where I'm from, because we have no mountains, no real weather to mention, and the 2 days a year that it's too slippery to drive, you know, get better tires, I'd say. But there's also a front-wheel drive version available with this big battery, so I think that is the more relevant one in the end. Here in the back of this DS8, it is nice and easy to get in thanks to the big door opening. But as soon as I sit down, I am hitting the roof with my head. They've tried to counter it slightly by making these cutouts for the panoramic roof. So if the roof would only end here, then obviously you're touching the roof constantly. But still, if I put my head against the headrest, it is hitting the back of the roof. So anybody taller than 1.83 m, you're not going to be able to sit here, I'm afraid. And especially not in the middle, because then we have this bit, which is then even lower. That said, apart from that, I'm sitting behind myself and I have about this much extra leg room left, so that's good. It's a flat floor, so I can move my feet around relatively easily. And also when you're sitting 3 abreast here, it is possible to put an adult here, providing they fit, because there's so much space in the footwell. So that is well done, excellent. There is also some basic luxury here with a seat pocket on each side. There's some air conditioning control, temperature and fan speed. There is seat heating and seat cooling here in the back, so that's even better. And there is some USBs and a 12-volt socket down there. The materials is that blue Alcantara that we saw in the front, so that's actually quite nice. It feels classy and it feels upmarket in here, so that's good. And there's a lot of space and a lot of air thanks to all that light from the panoramic roof. It feels very voluminous back here, so that's nice. Even though, you know, I can't sit up straight because I'll be touching the roof. But it's in general, it is actually quite, it feels spacious here. We also have that excellent Focal audio. We also have that excellent Focal audio system here and that Alcantara on the door and such as well. And of course we have the patented Stellantis armrest, also with Alcantara, but with the standard cup holders and phone slot that you always hit with your wrist or arm, and no ski hatch. So all around, it is quite nice back here. Good ISOFIX with a zipper pull as well, so you know, easy to close and nothing to lose. Excellent. All round, it is actually quite nice back here. Easy for a journey, good connection with the front of the car too. A lot of information coming to you, especially with that central display in the middle of the dashboard. Yeah, it's a pleasant place to spend some time. It's not a race car by any means. Despite the power and despite the acceleration, that feels all very impressive. It's too heavy, it's too big, it's too cumbersome to drive really fast around tight corners. We are in Switzerland at the moment, so we have some up and down, some undulations and some sort of flowing corners. There it's nice. You can put it in the normal setting or even in the sports setting, and I wouldn't say attack those kind of roads, but it's nice. It's a nice little bit of steering without it getting overly excited at any point. But the all-wheel drive in this version gives you a bit of confidence, a bit of extra traction to put all that power down. So that is actually quite a pleasant experience. In city traffic, it is what you expect. It's a large vehicle, so you know, it gets a bit cumbersome with parking and around tight spaces. But sitting here, I have an excellent overview. I have a good view out. It's easy for me to place the car despite its size. I can see the corners pretty well. So, you know, all around it is actually quite nice. And, you know, sitting here driving with the excellent audio system, the nice seats, some seat ventilation on, a neck warmer on if it's cold for you, then, you know, it's a very pleasant and relaxing car to drive. So I think that sport mode is not really relevant, but I think the overall fluency of the car is much more suited to cruising and relaxing way of driving. After 2 days in the mountains around Geneva with this DS number 8, what do we make of it? Is this the one to get? Well, I think if you are tired of the established cars from Germany and maybe not interested in something from Japan, for example, this is certainly a valuable alternative to have a look at. It's very typical French, it's very typical DS with a lot of high-tech inside, a lot of interesting things in terms of powertrain, light technology, toys inside and so on, and a lot of lifestyle elements around the brand as well. That's something that you really have to like. I think if you like this, you know who you are, and if you don't like this, you also know this, and then you need to be shopping at different brands. But I think what DS has built here is a worthy flagship car of its brand, and it's a very interesting proposition in terms of all the toys, all the elements, all the design parts of it. And when you listen to the people talk about the brand, that French feeling and that connection to the lifestyle around this brand and the image around this brand is really tangible. And I think if you like that, this is certainly worth giving a shot. If you don't, then obviously the established order from Germany and maybe even Japan is more your cup of tea. Then I don't think you have to look at this at all. But I think the proposition that they make here is solid. It's not a sports car, even though it has a lot of power, but it is a comfortable GT cruiser almost, with a lot of range, a lot of power and a lot of comfort inside. And I think that's a very compelling package. That's all I got for you in this video. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. A sub to the channel is always appreciated, of course. And I'll catch you guys again in the next one. Cheers.